Hello everyone, this is Mr. Informal back with a new Mr. Informal podcast. We are on the podcast 197. Yes, 197. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're healthy and I hope you are enjoying your day, night, or afternoon wherever you are in the world. So, this is the Mr. Informal podcast 197. I just want to say, please do not forget to add me on Instagram. MISTERINFORMAL, and then check out my website mrinformal.com, MRINFORMAL.com. So what do we have in this podcast? Number one, Zara will have a return fee. Number two, Sony PlayStation 5 supplies still have problems. Number three, Madewell is actually going to get into the men's line. We'll see about that. Last but not least, number four is Twitter is creating drops. It's basically creating an algorithm so you can track drops in Twitter. So those are the four topics for this Mr. Informal podcast 197. And so let's go ahead and start the podcast. So on to the first topic from retail.com titled Zara now charges for some returns, while other retailers follow. In some regions, customers pay a fee to return online purchase to third-party drop-off points. It may mark a turning point on how the company think about logistics. Zara may be in the midst of changing the parameters of e-commerce returns for apparel retailers. The company announced that in May, that UK customer will now be charged £1.95 or about $2.45 for customer will return online purchases to third-party drop-off points. Customers are still able to return online purchase at any Zara store in the UK free of charge. The return system is already in place for Zara in other European markets, including Belgium and the Netherlands, but most e-commerce shoppers are opt to complete their returns in their stores. It's unclear if the charge is going to come to the US as the decision made on a market per market basis. Wow. So e-commerce in the US grew 30% in 2020, which is the fastest growth rate since 2002 according to Forrester. During that time, clothing, accessories, and footwear as a group accounted for 19% of all US e-commerce sales growth. Forrester projects that digital sales in the clothing category will reach 47.5% by 2024. So last year, shoppers were expected to return over $761 billion of merchandise. So first of all, I do not like this. Yes, even though it's a third-party drop-off place or point area, drop-off area, whatever you are. You know what's gonna happen, right? Sooner or later, they're gonna charge you return fee at the Zara store too. This is just the tip. This is basically just appetizer of what's to come. Basically, sooner or later, they're just gonna again charge you for just return in general, no matter where you are in the world. The fact that they have to do this shows that they're losing money. They did not expect people would be doing this for the sake of convenience. But the fact is that Amazon is going to do this. UPS is going to do this, certainly, because UPS has access points. H&M will probably be doing this. I'm seriously not happy with this because here's my biggest problem about Zara, and also I'm not the only one. Many people I have spoken with, many people have told me stories that they do not understand the fit of Zara. I do not understand the fit of Zara. Sometimes I'm a medium, sometimes I'm a large, sometimes I'm an XL. I don't really get it. I don't. Even if it's just a simple shirt. For some reason, their fit is just way off. and I cannot figure it out. Now, I always recommend do not buy anything in Zara.com unless it is an accessory. If it's clothing, just go buy it at the store. There is absolutely no point of buying clothing online. So later in the article, they said that bedroom is now our dressing room, or living room is now our dressing room. For products we buy, clothing especially. By Tony, Executive Director of Reverse Logistics Association. Zara recognizes that the costs have gotten enormous. If you're shipping 3 garments for a person and they're only expecting to buy 1, that's 66% rate. So that's the nightmare of the apparel industry, and I applaud them. Somebody had to do this. Hey, but again, that's part of putting your stuff online instead of putting everything at the store. So they can't make these excuses. It is what it is. Not only that, Zara has billions of dollars. So I'm sure they're making profits off of this. In any case, I hope to God that other brands do not follow this. I would not be surprised if they do, but I really do not like this move. So on to the second topic from Supply Chain Dive. Sony forecasts PlayStation 5 supply won't meet demand. It hasn't, and it still keeps on going. Sony expects demand for its PS5 gaming console to outpace supply in the coming fiscal year as the electronic maker faces a supply crunch. Hiroki Totoki, Executive Deputy President and Chief Financial Officer, said on May 10. Totoki noted that the company has charged our source of procurement and also changed our design to cope with procurement issues. Despite the mitigation efforts, Totoki said Sony is behind in its ability to provide PlayStation units to customers smoothly on a timely basis. And with particularly low inventory levels in China, Sony hopes to normalize those inventory levels by the end of the year. Sony cuts its PS5 production forecast to 18 million consoles in the coming fiscal year because of component constraint, particularly in China. 18 million is what we feel comfortable that we can get the parts and components, and we feel that there was a little bit of higher demand than that. First of all, it is Sony's fault and also other retailers' fault that people do not have PlayStation 5. They are with these so-called resellers. It's just sitting in the storage, waiting to be bought by some idiot at a higher price, at a rip-off price, whatever you want to call it. And so Sony is asking, hey, we're all the PS5, and how come, based on our data, not a lot of people have PS5, still PS4? Well, there you go. It is absolutely your fault, and I don't understand why you still cannot buy a PS5 at the store. Why is everything have to be online? If you buy it at the store, at least the person can see that you can only give one per family. It's much more secure. There's no scalpers, there's no resellers. You can just buy it at the store. And yet, here we are still in 2022, you still can't not buy a PlayStation 5. And probably a PlayStation in 2023, you probably can't. And this is why I am just going to wait for the PlayStation 5 Pro model instead of this base model. So it's pretty stupid that they're still talking about this. Not only that, you can see from online retailers, you still cannot buy a PlayStation. You still have to wait for certain drops, certain dates, so and so. And no one really. The amount of people playing PlayStation 5 still outweighs the amount of people that plays PlayStation 5. Because again, the majority of people cannot even buy a PlayStation 5. People still have the PlayStation 4 like I do. And this is not surprising to me. What's surprising is that the president of PlayStation 5 or CFO saying that, oh, we can't meet the demands. Well, I mean, if you somehow tell your retailers or your wholesalers, if you could have just have it buy at the store instead of online, whatever, it should have been that way. But they're expecting this to normalize. So going forward, due to the continued spread of infection, there is a possibility that the operation at factories in Shanghai and the surrounding region, as well as procurement of parts from the region, will be constrained, he said. Well, wow. I mean, you couldn't at least give some of that parts to Japan, at least have it made over there, maybe? I mean, think about it. Anyways, but I'm sure that the supply of PlayStation 5 will still be a problem come the end of this year. And if I was you, just skip it and just move on to the next one. On to the third topic from retail.com. Madewell is actively investing in menswear as it opens another standalone store. So it seems like since J. Crew has been on bankruptcy, I think it's a perfect opportunity for Madewell to take over. The retailer is launching another store in Los Angeles on Thursday, and as the market men's apparel grows, the company may have the perfect timing. So, Madewell is ready to invest further. The apparel retailer launched its fourth standalone menswear location on Thursday in the Silver Lake neighborhood of Los Angeles, but the company has been quietly opening location for a few years. We started as a men's pop-up in Brooklyn, eventually expanded into larger apparel concept. The company has carrying men's products since 2018 with dedicated men's section in select locations. The strategy has grown to standalone stores with one other location in Los Angeles, Brooklyn, New York, and one in Austin, Texas. Wow. So delving into men's apparel, specifically men's jeans, was in response to the company's frequent requests from shoppers, according to Beth Herjet, Madewell Vice President of Merchandising. After an encouraging response to our initial launch focused on denim, we expanded by building the pieces he would wear jeans to deliver a full wardrobe concept. So there you have it. So during the pandemic in the US, 35% of men are different sizes than they were in 2019. Well, now that is funny. That is absolutely funny. But here's the thing. As Gap is starting to disappear or starting to lose its brand awareness and brand recognition, and also J. Crew, as J. Crew had some closures lately, I think Madewell wants to take a piece of that menswear pie, and certainly I'm not surprised by it. I do know a lot of people love Madewell. I mean, as per the name Madewell, a lot of people like that name, and Madewell is starting to come into its own, and certainly more people are giving them the recognition that they need. And also more people are also liking the fact that they have some men's line, but it's very little, but now they want to get into it with a full force, and hopefully that reaction will actually come into fruition, into sales. So, but at the same time, they do have a lot of competition. I see Madewell, I mean, it could be, they could probably go against Todd Snyder. They could also go against Zara. I mean, a lot of contemporary line, I guess, or upper casual lines, I guess you can say. But Madewell definitely wants a piece of that market share, and they really want to push for it. And also that they are probably going to market the men's Madewell in regards to quality and fit, and also very versatile clothing. That's probably what they're gonna get into. It's very basically very kind of like the opposite or equal to their women's line. But hey, I can't wait what they do in their men's line. Hopefully it goes great. I think more companies need to go and delve into men's line, because to me women's are just easy because women can wear everything and anything. On to the last topic, titled Twitter releases product drops feature to let shoppers track new merchandise. Article by retail.com. So, continuing its social commerce experimentation, Twitter has unveiled a product drops feature which notifies users when sellers releases new merchandise, the social network announced on Wednesday. For now, the feature is only available in US consumers who use Twitter in English on iOS devices. If a brand tweets about an upcoming launch, Twitter users can select Remind Me button and receive notification 15 minutes before the product is released. From there, they will see a Shop on Website button that will redirect them to the seller's e-commerce site, according to the announcement. Product information will be available when the seller tweets about a new drop, including product images, price, and clickable hashtag to see what others users are saying about the product. Among the companies testing product features are Dior, the Home Depot, and the Lego Group. I really do not like these type of drops. I really don't, because this is basically copying what Supreme used to do. Same thing with Original Vape. And lastly, I don't like the fact that this is what it says. For now, the feature is only available to US consumers who use Twitter in English on iOS devices. As you can tell, Twitter loves Apple. They don't really care about Android. They don't. So people come to Twitter to talk about products and product drops every day, and merchants have long been dropping products on Twitter without any native product support. We're excited to change that and introduce new shopping features that empower shoppers to stay on top of launches that matters the most to them, and provide merchants with another way to engage shoppers with big product moments. See, here's the problem with that. These merchants don't even know what product drops are. Number one, if you're gonna do a drop, you're gonna do it properly. A drop to me should be a separate category. It shouldn't be a line. It shouldn't be part of your seasonal. It could be a capsule, but it should not be part of your seasonal line. Also, if you want to do a drop, it could be 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 piece, not a whole damn thing, not a whole line. At least do it properly. And also, it should be limited by time. It could be limited for a month. It could be limited for a week. That's it. That's why it's called a drop. You can't call it. You can't call it you can't call it a launch if it's not a drop. You can't call a drop a launch. You know, so a lot of these brands are just diluting the name drop because they want to get in on these so-called drops when technically it's not really drop. Again, to me, if you're gonna do a drop, you're gonna do it properly. But again, you see, Twitter can do this all they want, but I don't think it's gonna make a difference. I don't think people go to Twitter just to know about the drops. I think more people would probably get on Instagram, go on Facebook, or basically the website or the brand itself. If you follow them, that's it. But it wouldn't be surprising that, you know, there are people who's gonna use this. But again, I think this is a bad time to do it because a lot of these brands are doing the metaverse, and they're gonna do the drops on their metaverse. And so I don't know where Twitter's going to go because of its Elon Musk saga. Hopefully they go down, and hopefully Twitter Elon changes them for the better, because right now I'm not really a fan of Twitter. Glad I don't have them. But in this case, product drops, I mean, if it's done properly, that's how it should be. If not, then I don't really care for it. And so that basically concludes this Mr. Informal Podcast 197. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope you enjoy listening to me from beginning to end. And if you did, I do appreciate it. And hopefully, I gave you some insights and some new news. And so, please do not forget to add me on Instagram, MISTERINFORMAL, and then check out my website, mrinformal.com, MRINFORMAL.com. And so, I will see you in the next podcast. Bye bye.